Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we got another one. Khamzat Chimaev and Nate Diaz. I couldn't have prayed and asked for a better fight. This is the Clash of the Titans, new school versus old school. And let's be honest, everybody's counting Nate Diaz out right now. I think that's crazy. I think you gotta be out of your mind to count Nate Diaz out in any fight. I mean, let's be honest, this is Stockton's very own, Mr. Slap 'em Up. But I'm not ignorant to the fact that Khamzat Chimaev is a beast. I mean, a train. He's ran through everybody, at least everybody he's faced. Besides Burns, that could have went either way, and I kind of think Burns took that one, let's be honest. Alright, enough of the small talk, let's get into it. Let's break this down a little bit. Game plans. I think we have two completely opposite game plans right now. Khamzat Chimaev is going to try to get to him, take him to the ground, take the neck, just like he do in all of his fights. Get it done as quick as possible. Nate Diaz, I think, will have a completely different plan. That's take him to deep water and then drown him at the end. And let's be honest, that's his best option. We all seen how Khamzat Chimaev gassed out in 2 rounds. 2.5 rounds against Gilbert Burns. Khamzat Chimaev gassed out. Now, and that was a 3-rounder. This is a 5-rounder. I give him a little. Gilbert Burns and Nate Diaz is 2 completely different fighters. And Gilbert Burns was taking it to him. They had a complete war. It was crazy. But with that being said, Nate Diaz ain't gonna be a light night. It's not gonna be a walk in the park. So how does Khamzat Chimaev win? Follow the game plan. Go straight in there, rushing forward, get him to the ground, and try to get a submission. But let's be honest, how often do we see Nate Diaz go out like that? It's not happening. Though Khamzat Chimaev is a different fighter, he's strong as hell, anything can happen. This is UFC. But I just don't see that happening. And that's the only way Khamzat Chimaev wins this fight. If he gets him down early, takes the neck, some type of submission, that's his way. That's his way to the goal. Let's say it doesn't go that way for Khamzat Chimaev and he has to go 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds. Now you're in deep waters. Nate Diaz can do this with his hands tied behind his back. The man runs triathlons. This is where Nate Diaz wants to get Khamzat. If Nate Diaz can get past the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round, which is gonna be hard as hell, then it's gonna look a lot more better for Nate Diaz. Then the chance of winning for Nate Diaz goes up. Because realistically, if Khamzat Chimaev gasses out like he did with Gilbert Burns, it's gonna be a problem. Nate Diaz lives for the 4th and 5th rounds. This is what he does. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz. Leon Edwards beat Nate Diaz's ass for 5 rounds. Then boom, in the last minute of the 5th round, Nate Diaz caught him with a right. Pow! Rocked Edwards. Unfortunately for Nate Diaz, there wasn't no more time on the clock and he couldn't get the finish. Give 30 more seconds in there and Nate Diaz would have won that fight. I said that to say Nate Diaz is the 4th and 5th round killer. You go out there in the deep water with him, you may get drowned. And that's just something for Khamzat to think of. You better get it done early in the first 3 rounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Khamzat Chimaev has even seen a 5th round fight before. This might be something he's just not ready for, especially dealing with a veteran like Nate Diaz. I don't understand why everybody's counting him out. This is crazy to me. Let's go down Khamzat Chimaev's game plan. Let's just say you do get him down. You get him against that fence. You're dealing with a jiu-jitsu black belt. It's not like it's just gonna be a rock in the park and you're gonna just manhandle him. Even though Khamzat Chimaev is very strong and there is a chance of that. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I see Khamzat trying to grapple with Nate Diaz, and if it doesn't work, standing up. And that's probably where he's gonna have the most success. But even then, who's knocking out Nate Diaz? Ain't nobody knocking out Nate Diaz. It's not happening. Anything can happen. This is the UFC, but that just hasn't happened. So who am I going for? If you can't tell, I'm going for Nate Diaz. I'm going for the underdog. I'm going for the vet. Old school over new school, man. My official prediction is Nate Diaz in the 5th round by submission. I think for Khamzat Chimaev, the lights are gonna be too bright and it's gonna be too much to bear. When you get in that deep water, it's hard to swim, baby. Nate Diaz is gonna shock the world once again, and he ain't gonna be surprised. I'll have another video where I break this fight down a lot more, but I just wanted to put this out because they got Nate Diaz looking crazy right now. This is B with Absorb MMA. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Tell me who you think's gonna win. Tell me what round and how it's gonna happen. That's a wrap.